Right, Lunger. Let's do it. I'm your Huckleberry.
Hello and welcome into this Monday's edition of Entertainment News here at MBE. I am one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin, our host who's just been munching on a cake, red velvet cake that is. It's John C. Walsh. How you doing, John? Splendid and tremendous.
Double chin. I'm doing fantastic, yes, Stephen. I am high as a kite after munching on that said cake. Although counterbalanced with coming down from a double shot espresso latte earlier on today. Ooh. I say earlier on today, I think it was about 2 o'clock today.
Not too bad. That's sort of my cut-off point as well with caffeine. But John,
rattling like a junkie earlier.
It's been a while since we've done entertainment news. Well, last Tuesday you covered the whole show yourself as Per. Because we're only doing it twice a week at the moment, because we're doing a lot of watch-alongs, we didn't really get to talk about what was coming up. Obviously, Star Wars Celebration's happening. Well, John, this is the thing I wanted to talk to you about.
I've not even seen the Ashoka Tano trailer.
We haven't. I've seen it. I like it. It's good, but I'll not spoil anything for you. But in terms of Celebration, I was thinking of this. I was watching it. I watched obviously the Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau.
I really enjoyed it.
Hayden Christensen, Anthony Daniels was good. I liked actually.
Daniels was
that
brilliant.
Jacket he had was immense.
He was brilliant. Him and Anthony Carboni were just bantering back and forth. And he was in really good form. Really enjoyed
Kate Sackhoff as well.
Kate Sackhoff. I didn't see her. I seen Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Didn't see her, no.
Seen the Andor panel. Was fucking great to hear Diego Luna and the writing team and just the sort of creative team talking about the storyboarding, sort of conceptual artwork and how they made that into a living, breathing set. Just Diego's enthusiasm
John,
for the show.
Were you like me though? Were you more interested in the stuff that's on Disney Plus, the stuff they were covering on Celebration rather than the film stuff?
Well, Stephen, I missed it. That's what I'm saying. The first day was all the announcements of the films, and I forgot it was a thing. I went back and watched bits and bobs. Yeah, but I didn't see Ridley coming out. I didn't see Daisy coming out. I couldn't see that in the original stream. It was as if they'd cut it off early. But I did see all the panels. I really enjoyed the Obi-Wan panel. Yeah. Ewan McGregor, the young girl who plays Leia, incredible speaker for her age. She's confident. She's
ahead of her time.
Very precocious talent, to quote Tom Hanks. I always remember Tom speaking about
which is a shame, John. Unless they maybe do a Leia spin-off. Yeah. I think it's wasted because she is a great actor. And she could do a Leia. But I don't know, it's the whole time period thing as well. Is there enough time before she hits 19? I think with young
actors as well, I think young actors, you have to strike while the iron's hot and get out before you over-egg it. Because if there's too much, then they tend to go off a cliff, both mentally in their personal life and in terms of acting prowess.
Jake Lloyd, John.
Jake Lloyd, we've seen it with a whole host, Macaulay Culkin. There's been other ones. The Matilda actress disappeared off the face of the earth. But then to sort of
fell from Flight of the Navigator as well.
Obviously, Ki Hai Kwan was frozen out, but that wasn't down to brilliance of acting. That was down to a racial motivated thing. Also, to balance out, you get Jake Gyllenhaal, Christian Bale, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. So there has been others who have popped up as child actors and stuck around. Yeah. Because of her brilliance, and hopefully that young actress is the same. Because I was really impressed with her speaking. I really enjoyed it, Stephen. I enjoyed the production. I enjoyed the weird and wondrous sights. I think it was in London. I do enjoy Celebration.
I think it was billed as Europe.
It was in London.
Whatever that means, because we're not in Europe anymore.
Yeah.
So
technically European continent.
Yeah.
But I'm always impressed with Celebration. I'm impressed with the production. I'm impressed with the energy. You've seen it with Ewan McGregor. Yeah. He came off the panel for Obi-Wan and he did a little impromptu sort of addressing of the crowd. Huge crowd in the room. Dave Filoni moved to tears nearly from the sort of outpouring of love and appreciation.
I was the same with the Hayden Christensen interview, John.
I've not seen that yet. I need to watch Hayden's.
I'll not spoil too much yet, but they asked him the obvious stuff. What was your favourite moments in the Obi-Wan series? And 2 of them were obviously the flashback scene, which we thought was incredible if anyone's ever watched or watched along. Of course, they're using their old faces. They didn't de-age them, and I didn't mind that because it wasn't really... It wasn't needed. It was it was a piece of storytelling as well, which was more important. And obviously the final fight scene with Vader when his mask is split in two.
So long.
Ewan McGregor's and Hayden says complimenting Ewan McGregor's acting in that scene. That was phenomenal, John. It was really hairs in the back of your neck stuff when he was saying sorry to Anakin for letting him down and stuff like that. It was heartbreaking, and I thought it was an incredible scene. One of the best scenes I've seen in a Star Wars TV series to date, anyway.
Ewan's moustache as well.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's always had incredible hair and facial hair. John, I think there might be something, but I don't think Hayden will be back. I think that's him done. They can't have another meeting. No. Unless Hayden comes back as Vader and something else, I suppose it could work. But not with Obi-Wan Kenobi. John, we're going to talk about...
you're leaning heavy on James Earl Jones, so aren't you?
Well, that's it. I think AI is slowly taking over.
Stephen, I went down a rabbit hole with AI recently. It's fucking spooked me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
When intellectuals are saying, you may want to put the brakes on this, or we could get wiped the fuck out. I'm starting to get spooked with it.
Tell me
yes, I am fucking spooked by AI.
It's incredible. It
We're
really
not
is.
far away from a sort of singularity moment, and it could go one of both ways. We could either get annihilated, or it could be really good.
John, well, at the moment it's not really good, I suppose, if you're a creative writer. It's a frightening period at the moment in terms of technology, because at the moment, if you may be reading up on this, Hollywood are starting to look into AI screenwriting, which I think's
adapting.
I can't get my head around that.
Adapting a book in one day.
Yeah. So
is that not extraordinary?
That's fantastic, incredible, John. And I know that as the years go, we're going to see more and more of it in publications and stuff like that, and it's frightening. It really is.
It's frightening.
Creativity is going to die. People's obviously livelihoods is going to disappear.
There's always a space for the human touch. Though.
I hope so.
Speaking of the human touch,
I'm going to take a little drink first before we do that.
The human touch, is this the correct human touch?
Yeah, we're talking about 3 new films, John, and I thought we'd talk about them individually rather than collectively, and anyone that's watched, obviously, Celebration will know what we're talking about here. The first, obviously, of the 2 new films that have been overseen by James Mangold, director of, obviously, Logan, and I think he did the Wolverine as well, didn't he?
He did, yes.
The good one, the Japanese one.
I love James. I think he's a brilliant director.
And Dave Filoni, obviously the co-creator of the Mandalorian TV series with Jon Favreau. The first one being Mangold's movie telling a tale of the first Jedi to wield the Force and harness it as a liberating power in an era of chaos and oppression. How does that grab you, John? Because you spoke about this, you know a little bit more about this than myself in terms of when they're supposedly setting this.
This Stephen, as I says, I missed the sort of announcements of these movies in terms of Celebration. I did see snippets. They're saying they're a fledgling of New Republic, so you'd imagine that's going to take place between the 2 original trilogy.
Well, that's Filoni's film. Yeah.
Is that Filoni's one? Well, the Mangold one's a sort of prequel, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fledgling Jedi Order, I think it is. It's like an origin story of a Jedi.
Yeah.
So that could be back in the Old Republic era. I think High Republic was the timeline they explored in the books. That's way, way, way back.
Yeah.
I think it's Titan. I think that was the name of the planet. That maybe a moon in Jupiter or Saturn. But it was one planet that was in the Old Republic game. It get fucking levelled.
So this could be thousands of years before the Phantom Menace. Is that what we're saying?
Thousands of years, potentially. Thousands, or hundreds of years, maybe 800 years. It's way back, but Stephen, it's not prehistoric. If they're following the Old Republic, they've still got amazing technology. They still have lightsabers. They still have ships. They're still able to do sort of intergalactic travel.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting timeline with some really shady Sith characters floating about. If you're dealing with Raven and Bane.
Just when you're mentioning that shakes up the galaxy in terms of our perception of the galaxy as well, in terms of technology. If you're saying that, if it's set maybe 800 years, say, and they've got that technology, then that kind of makes you look at Star Wars and as a galaxy in a different perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think, Stephen, if that was to play out in real life, it's like everything. It's like F1. Christ, you can see people making massive jumps in technology, but then to fine tune it and hone it and get incremental increases, it tends to tip off. You don't get as big a jump once you're capable of intergalactic travel. Once you've got a lightsaber,
there's always that period, isn't there? That everything's been invented. That's what we think, and then something else comes along, like the internet.
Exactly, but there's only so much you can do to kind of pioneer after a certain point. Then it's just incremental increases and changes. And I think that's where they're at. And they've obviously had a period of boom. They've got lightsabers, they've got Jedi coming through. Lots and lots of Sith warlords and sort of Sith hanging about at that time period. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure they explored this in something else.
Mangold's doing the Indiana Jones film, isn't he?
The what?
He's doing the Indiana Jones film, isn't he?
Yes. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, well remembered. Yeah,
yes, he's doing that. He's doing a Bob Dylan biopic. He's a wondrous director, Stephen.
Yes.
And he's not scared to get in about it and make some radical decisions. And I'm really looking forward to Indiana Jones. I like the new trailer. I've liked the trailers, period. Some people will have their panties in a twist. I thought I'd made a mistake there. I didn't. With obviously Phoebe Waller-Bridge coming in and seemingly doing the heavy lifting for Indy. Harrison Ford is in his mid-80s now, early 80s. He can't run around like he did when he was 35 years of age. You need younger people.
I would rather have an 80-year-old man.
They've not seen The Irishman.
Nearly killing himself.
I mean, he fucking nearly did that anyway. Landing a plane in a fucking fairway on a golf course. So I don't get the whole criticism. There was people out for that movie before it even started shooting.
I think we know where these people's agendas lie. Let's be honest with you. You know, having a woman in there leading in an Indiana Jones film.
Doesn't matter that she's absolutely brilliant. She's an incredible producer, writer, actor.
Good
doesn't
person
matter.
as well.
Good person. Doesn't matter. And that doesn't matter because she's the wrong gender. She can't lead. Look, I'm looking forward to it. I'm receptive to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Great hope though for this film about the First Jedi. If he is going to be, I don't know if he's directing or if he's going to be co-producing. I'm not sure.
I think he's directing with Filoni probably, and no, Filoni's doing a different one. Is he?
Well, it says that both of them are going to oversee these two films, but I think Mangold might be directing both with Filoni executive producer or whatever. You know, I'm not really sure.
I'm all for that. I think the best work that's came out of Star Wars in the last 10-15 years has been it's had Filoni's fingertips or Tony Gilroy's fingertips in and about it.
Definitely.
You think of Andor, you think of The Mandalorian, The Clone Wars, The Rebels.
And John, we're talking about obviously
I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm looking forward to how
Filoni's
they deal
film
with it.
being about the escalating war between the Imperial Remnant and the fledgling New Republic, and we'll close out the interconnected stories told in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka.
You know what that means, don't you?
Yeah, let's do it, John.
Grand
Let's talk
Admiral
about
Thrawn.
Yeah. And what do you know about that?
Well, Stephen, there's rumours that Lars Mikkelsen's going to be the man to portray it. Obviously, Mads' older brother, 1 year his senior.
Yeah.
And obviously he's already done the voice work for Thrawn in Rebels, so he's got that connection with the character. He's a brilliant actor as well. He's maybe not as well renowned as Mads, but he's a brilliant actor. I think that'd be a great choice. You look, I mean, I can bring it up just now.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll have the actual visuals. We'll look and see if we can get an image of him. I think it was she says that image.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even see it really. But if you were to, I'll see if I can open this up and make it work.
Yeah.
There you go, slightly.
Yeah, I can imagine
Paint
him
him
with a blue face,
Paint him boy, shave him.
Yeah.
It's fucking Thrawn.
I know, John, we talked about this in the past, and we're talking about the likes. It was more obvious ones like Richard D. Grant. We know he's already been in Star Wars.
Mads Mikkelsen has already been in Star Wars.
And obviously Christian Bale as well.
Yeah.
But it would go against the grain in terms of Star Wars recruitment when it comes to big characters. They tend to go for. I'm not saying he's a lesser known name. He isn't. He is a well known name. He's already connected to Star Wars. He's part of the Star Wars family. But I didn't see this one coming, I'll be honest with you. But I mean,
it's not. I don't know if it's official yet.
Yeah, I mean,
but there's heavy rumours.
I'm for it though. I am for it. You know, and the fact that he has obviously played the character in some version, then that's even better.
All accounts have addressed Thrawn as well. I think Filoni, perhaps. Again, I've not seen that. And I think Ahsoka all but named him.
Yeah.
And we know she's tracking him.
Well,
so he's going to come in, Steve, and he's going to be the main villain in this movie.
Whatever this film's going to be about, he'll be the main villain. Who's going to be the main hero? Ahsoka?
I think she's going to be an ensemble.
Yeah. But I think she'll be the lead though. I think she will be.
Well, Steve, we spoke about this after, I think, the episode prior to the last one of The Mandalorian, about interconnecting these different franchises, these different TV shows, and the one big bad Moff Gideon being a lieutenant to sort of Grand Admiral Thrawn. You can't just rely on Din Djarin or Bo-Katan or Ahsoka Tano or Grogu.
Collectively.
You need a collective. You need all the sidekicks. You need Luke Skywalker potentially coming
John, here's the
he
other
faced
question.
off against him in the books.
Luke Skywalker coming back in a big feature film at that period. Is this the time we get Sebastian Stan in?
Oh, I love it.
It has to
Even
be,
a TV show.
Mark Hamill's gave his blessing.
He has, yeah.
They have to do this.
Even a TV show.
Yeah.
He's
but
receptive
in terms
to
of film, I want to see a real person playing him. I don't want to see AI or what is it they call that? Deepfake for Luke Skywalker. He deserves better than that. It's okay intersparingly in TV series when he's not the main character. I get that for storytelling point of view, but if he's going to be in this film, he's going to be a big character in this film. I know we're all speculating at the moment, but I think I'm on your side of things, John. It's going to take a collective force
maybe he's
to
just
take
Ahsoka
on Thrawn.
And if it is fair
I think Ahsoka will lead it. I think
with Filoni being heavily involved, that's his character.
That's
maybe
his child.
See it out to a really nice conclusion potentially for that character.
Yeah,
and it would be poetic, really. Her almost destroying, but then you see you're destroying the remnants of the Empire, the Imperial.
John, this is what I like. This is what I love about The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and what we're going to see in obviously Ahsoka as well, is that period where we are still seeing the Empire and sort of sort of spliced across the galaxy. They're not the force they once were, if you pardon the pun, but they still are in existence. They just don't know what they're doing. They've not got a name like they were collectively, 30 years previous or anything like that. But it'll be interesting to see how that's handled, because there is that. I mean, like any war, John, you talk about World War II, there was Nazis were still in existence after World War II. They didn't just die off
Operation
after
Paperclip.
1945. Yeah, exactly.
Scurried out of Germany and Europe like rats on a submarine
to South America.
Submarines plural to South America. Joseph Mengele, despicable human being, scientist who obviously did abhorrent testing on Jewish and just other unfortunate individuals throughout the war. He made his way to Brazil, I think, died in his mid-80s of a stroke on a beach.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you think, really, but that's sidetracking.
Yeah. No, but
how the fuck an individual can do
those
things.
It's that point, John, that, after Return of the Jedi, everything just didn't resume back to the way it was before the Empire. There is that aftermath. Well, we got those books, didn't we? The aftermath books.
We did. Steve, by all accounts, The Mandalorian, I think episode 7 we're on to now, season 3. There's been a summary. I think they allowed people to see the opening 5 minutes or something of the episode at Celebration.
Okay.
There was a select few. They've leaked the summary, or they've just leaked the sort of what the general vibe, what's happening in those opening minutes. By all accounts, I think the woman, I forget her name, who's defected over to the New Republic,
yeah,
she makes contact with Gideon. We know Gideon has escaped. Giancarlo Esposito was going to be popping up potentially the last 2 episodes.
Yeah,
he was great at Celebration.
Yeah,
loved his moment, his interview. So passionate, brilliant, incredible sort of orator. And in fact, he was calling Grogu a little large-eared bastard. He was out to get him.
He was in Breaking Bad, wasn't he?
He was Gustavo Fring's.
I always thought, John, that when they were talking about obviously the Rian Johnson trilogy that was potentially coming, I always thought, and it was around about the time of season 2, The Mandalorian, was reunite these guys, because obviously Rian Johnson did a few Breaking Bad episodes, and perhaps maybe that's his trilogy covering this character. But I don't think it's going to be that anyway.
Gideon's brilliant.
Yeah,
and we've
he's
been crying out for a proper villain.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they've kind of established that story with her and the scientist, the Conan guy. They've put her in, she's working in the background manipulating things at the New Republic, whilst obviously keeping clear contact with Gideon. That's going to connect into Thrawn potentially.
Yeah.
So but all the pieces have been moved here, Stephen. I'm concerned they've announced a Mandalorian movie, I believe. There's going to be a movie to end it. When's that coming? How many more seasons have we got of The Mandalorian before that happens?
Is this out with obviously this Imperial Remnant and fledgling New Republic film we're talking about?
I don't know if it's the same one.
Yeah.
It may be the same one. I think it is.
It could be.
The same one.
It could be.
Because they're saying it's tying up all the stories.
Yeah. I mean, they've done that in the past. I know those X-Files spin-offs, Millennium and the Lone Gunman.
Yeah.
They had to have closure as well, so they used the X-Files to sort of close those series off, and it could be a case of that maybe what they're doing with all these series.
Bizarre? Did one of the Lone Gunmen not die, the character, and then he popped back up in the TV show because it was a prequel?
Perhaps.
Am I right saying that?
I think they all died actually.
Yeah, they all died, and then they popped back again.
That's right. Yeah,
it's like a fucking Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah, I'd have to look back, but I'm sure they all died. Yeah.
Yeah.
John, we'll move on to the third film.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that big time, Steve. And
those are the two out of the three I'm looking forward to, because the third one, we'll get into that in a minute. Because this is obviously what we're headlining with, so we need to talk about it, John. It's something that's it's been.
Who's directing the Mandalorian one? The one that finishes up all of the interconnected stories. Is that Filoni?
I think it's Mangold. Is it Mangold? I think he's directing both, and Filoni's producing both.
So he's directing two movies.
Yeah, I think
that's interesting as well, Steve.
Yeah.
Before we move on to this third movie, Mangold infamously pulled out, I think, of a Boba Fett Origins movie, or an Obi-Wan Origins movie.
About that,
because of the toxicity of the fan base at the time. He took a step back. He didn't want anything to do with it because of the way Rian Johnson was treated, and the way that the fandom was acting. Just going after people on social media, the threats, the abuse of Kelly Marie Tran, I think it was. It's interesting he's actually now up for coming in and doing a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
For all the criticism that Kathleen Kennedy gets, and obviously Disney and Lucasfilm, you've got to maybe tip the hat and say, look, they've cleaned it up a bit.
I think
they've
Disney
not
Plus
made a complete fucking car crash.
I think Disney Plus should take the credit for that, though, because those TV series that they've been knocking out over the last 4 or 5 years have been phenomenal. That's why I'm not that interested in the films as such, because they've been given us good content on the platform, and that's why I was more interested in the stuff on Disney Plus that they were talking about at Celebration. It interested me more because I can see a bright future in all these spin-offs and all these series that they're adding. But John, the third film, I'm going to read this actually from the Guardian website. We will have this on our website, what we're talking about, very shortly as well, once I nick that graphic from John. The third film to be announced, a project to be directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, has been known about for some time, but appears to have been dogged by changes of direction and staff departures. Obaid-Chinoy's film will take place 15 years after the rise of Skywalker and feature Daisy Ridley returning in the role of Rey. It will tell the story of the rebuilding of the new Jedi Order and the powers that rise to tear it down. Lucasfilm recently announced that Peaky Blinders Stephen Knight has replaced Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson as writers on that film.
That project. Interesting.
Yeah,
that will definitely not be shelved in.
Yeah. So it looks like it's a bit more concrete.
Yeah.
I think they've got the sort of pieces in place now. In terms of Rey, John, we don't know how big a role she's going to have in this. She could be the sort of potential Luke Skywalker of the sequel trilogy, just popping up intersparingly. I don't know.
She's still so young though, isn't she?
She's probably in her 30s at this point, I would say.
Yeah, the actual actress?
Yeah, well, 15 years. What age is she supposed to be in the sequel trilogy? Maybe 18, maybe?
Maybe not, yeah. Well, I think she was 23,
so she's
24.
probably just maybe about hitting 40 at this point. So, I don't know. It's still young.
I think the actress herself and Boyega are the same age. I think they were born in 93.
Yeah, crazy.
And a couple of years older than me.
Yeah.
30, 31.
John, what do you think about this anyway? This
younger than me, sorry.
This
I fucking wish.
New Jedi Order, the rise of this, the story of the rebuilding. It's kind of retelling what's already been and what we're probably going to see in the whole Grogu stuff, isn't it? We're going to see more of the sort of Jedi Order being...
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm just searching up Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy because I don't admittedly know a huge amount about her.
Yeah.
Pakistani-Canadian journalist, filmmaker, activist known for her works in films that highlight the inequality for women. It's an interesting choice when you look at the actual filmography, and I'll bring this up just so we can have a little gander while we're doing it. You're not going to see any of it. She's done mostly shorts. She's only done shorts, really. That's a producer, to be fair, so we'll give her... She's directed 15 and it's been TV, miniseries, shorts.
Couple of episodes of Miss Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, there has a couple of movies in there, to be fair. I've never heard of any of these.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is ignorance from me. It may very well be.
No, you can't know
Miss
everything
Marvel,
on IMDb.
Yeah, she directed a couple of episodes of Miss Marvel then.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting, ballsy choice for director. But look, it could work. This is something Marvel certainly have done over the last 10, 15 years. They've plucked some gems out, honed them and gave them a platform to build a career from. You think of the Russos. Who the fuck knew about the Russos prior to the work on Marvel? Try to think off the top of my head. Josh Whedon.
Yeah.
The guy who he did Spider-Man trilogy. Always forget his second name. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Who knew of him? Yeah. I certainly didn't. And then young man who directed the first Captain America.
Well, Joe Johnston was
Joe Johnston,
he
was known, to be fair.
It wasn't, well, he did The Rocketeer as a director, John, but you can look back on the actors as well. Daisy Ridley, she only done a few
John Watts.
John Watts.
Was John Watts known before? Have I just shown ignorance? No, I don't really think he was. No,
I don't think so.
No.
Perhaps maybe if you're into the sort of independent films and stuff like that, John, but
it's
mainstream
really,
stuff.
It could follow the same path as the Marvel.
I think it is a bold choice, John, because if you've got I don't want to say a rookie director, but obviously she's got the experience and she's obviously got the potential to sort of catch the eye of Kathleen Kennedy, but the same way Daisy Ridley was unknown before obviously Star Wars. I don't regard Daisy Ridley as a great actress in any form, but
that's why she's back in Star Wars.
She's a great person. I do like her. I think she's a very likeable person, but the character itself a lot of people don't like, and I get that. This is going to be the point, John, that Star Wars fans, mostly the older generation ones, and I put myself in that category, are going to have to accept that everything that comes out of Lucasfilm for Star Wars isn't always going to be for you. There's going to be a fair amount of stuff that's not going to apply to you. I don't really bother with the animated stuff, and I don't really care for it either. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. It doesn't make me a less Star Wars fan for not paying attention to the animated stuff. It's just not my format, and it'll be the same with certain films as well. There'll be films that will come out. You've got to remember, me growing up, and yourself, John, as well, we had 3 films for a very long time, and that's all we had. So when they were announcing Star Wars films coming out, they need to get this right, because there's not going to be many. It's not like that anymore. The mentality's not like that. The way they're going to be producing and making these films now, it's going to be applied to certain age groups and demographics, and that's just the way it is. That's the same as any studio that knocks out films. It's not always going to be a cup of tea. I don't like everything that comes out of the MCU.
No,
I don't bother
certainly
watching
things.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it is, and that's the way we're going to have to treat Star Wars as well. I know a lot of people are probably on the high horse. This is Kathleen Kennedy's partner shot. I'll show them. I will get my Rey character on a pedestal once more, etc., etc. Whatever the rants have been over the weekend since this has been announced, but I don't really care about that. Will I watch it? I probably will, but I'll not take it that serious. There's 3 films going to be coming out. 2 which I'm very interested in about. I think that's more aimed at my sort of demographics, if I'm being honest. This one, I'll see. I'll probably watch it and think, that's okay. You know, it's good to see Daisy Ridley back. Perhaps maybe, I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Hayden Christensen's portrayal of Anakin Skywalker, but, you know, since he's came back, I think there's a lot of redemption in these characters. I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have got a lot to do with that, in terms of Hayden Christensen and Ahmed Best coming back as well. I know they spoke about him highly as well, and it was great. So it might be the same case for Daisy Ridley as well, coming back. I don't know when this film, I mean, it could be a good 10 years before this film comes out. We
15
don't know,
years, takes place 15 years
after. We don't know when
the
actual film will come out though. You know, if they're going to be doing the other 2, I don't know what the order of play is, so.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm aware, Taika's still doing a Star Wars movie, and his is the next one coming out. I don't know what the fuck that is, the premise. I think he was working with Kirsty Wilson-Cairns of 1917 fame.
The Patty Jenkins one is reportedly shelved. I think that's done. Yeah.
Because as you mentioned, it was the X-Wing pilot from The Mandalorian. He was supposed to be leading it. Yeah. Stephen, I'm conflicted with this movie. I'm conflicted because I don't really want a continuation. I was about to say continuity. That's not the right word. A continuation of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, I know. And that's what it exactly will be. Yeah.
Because to me, it's no longer the Skywalker saga. She's not Rey Skywalker. She's Rey Palpatine. That's not how lineages work. You don't just take a name because you don't like your name.
Wait to see your headline on our website later on.
Yeah.
The headlines with Rey Skywalker.
Rey Skywalker. Yeah, I'm sorry, she's not Rey Skywalker. She's not, I mean, she hasn't. She's just not got any connection. You could say, well, I mean, Palpatine created he manipulated midichlorians to impregnate Shmi Skywalker. He's technically Anakin's father. Anakin wrongfully took the Skywalker name, and he's really a Palpatine, which means Luke's really a Palpatine, which means it's technically the Palpatine saga. It's not the Skywalker saga, but it ain't. It's the Skywalker saga. She wasn't buff from Shmi. She sure as fuck wasn't buff from Luke or Leia. She's not a Skywalker.
Enough, she does look like Shmi a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Stephen, we were hoping she was going to be the long lost daughter of maybe fucking Leia or Luke. That's what we were hoping for. That would explain the unbelievable Force abilities. Yeah. Because let's be honest, of all the criticism Rian Johnson got, he did make Luke the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy.
He did.
The man was teleporting across the galaxy.
He did it in a Jedi way.
And making an absolute mug of his nephew. in the most non-violent, as you said, Jedi way possible. So you can criticise him, but it did make look the most powerful Jedi. No one was doing shit like that. We fought Force Lightning was impressive. He would fucking ragdoll Palpatine, look, and he wouldn't even have to be there to do it. So you can criticise it, but there's no explanation for her incredible abilities. You could say she's a Palpatine, she's a chosen one, whatever, yada yada. I don't really want a continuation of a Skywalker saga. I would have preferred them just to cut clean and do a whole new era, whole new part of the galaxy with a new array of characters. Yeah. Shake the fucking 200-ton sort of gorilla that's on the back of these movies.
I'll be honest with you, I thought, perhaps maybe further down the line when they do go past that period of the Skywalker saga, that perhaps we have an aged Grogu.
Well, I was about to say that was the conflicted part of me, Stephen, telling of a new Jedi Order. That's something I wanted to see with Luke. I wanted to see him rebuilding the Jedi Order. That's why I liked
see that, John.
The Order, sort of him creating a fledgling new Jedi Order.
We might still see that
Book of Boba Fett episode.
Yeah, we might still see that in a web series, though, a Luke web series.
But that's what I'm conflicted. I do want to see that. That's a story I want to see told. But it's with Rey, and Rey is a not very likeable character for me. And we discussed it, Stephen, the other day. It's not anything down to Daisy. It's not down to it being a female character. It could have a tackle, be a male character. I wouldn't give a fuck. The character hasn't faced adversity.
Yeah.
I rhymed off all of the nonsense that Luke had to go through throughout the original trilogy. The man lost his mentor. His uncle and aunt were burnt to a crisp. He lost his friend. That was all in the first movie. The second movie, he gets a bombshell dropped on him that his father's the most evil man or second most evil man in the galaxy. He then proceeds to cut his fucking hand off, and he nearly dies in a gas giant. And he goes through training where he's spooked. He's shown sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, a vision of him in Vader's helmet. Yeah. You go into the third movie, he's been tested mentally. The character faced unbelievable adversity through that trilogy.
That's how the girl he kissed was his sister.
Yeah, exactly. That's another example. Yeah, that was Lucas though. It did that to him, not anyone in the galaxy. That was just fucked up, George. That's why you don't do things.
He didn't have an easy ride of it. No.
Didn't have an easy ride. That's what makes the character so likeable. He's relatable. It doesn't matter whether you're a male, a female, non-binary, whatever, gender fluid. You can relate to that universal story. The
perception of Luke after Return of the Jedi was that people saw him going into that throne room, and people saw him coming out of that throne room. The only one that came out alive from that throne room, and that sort of the rumours start about this legend. This Luke Skywalker went into that room with those two, and he was the only one that came out alive. We put the fear. I think Gideon probably knows that story, because when they knew that obviously Luke was coming into the rescue, as the episode was called, he looked absolutely shit fear.
That's where he should have been.
Yeah,
because he was a Jedi Master at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the character's not likeable, Stephen. It just isn't. It's not faced adversity, and it's divisive. It's a divisive choice. No matter what way you want to paint it, you can say, look, it's not for us, but it's still a divisive choice. I just mentioned it. You've got to commend Lucasfilm and even Kennedy, she is the president, for riding the storm after Rise of Skywalker, greenlighting a succession of decent projects and some shite ones, and some brilliant ones as well, and all the first two seasons of Mandalorian. This one's still to see its conclusion. There's been some trash in there as well, but they've righted the ship. The fan base is in probably a better place than it was 3-4 years ago. Now you're going to go off and do this all again by bringing in this divisive character, continuing this story no one really wants continued.
If this one comes out first, Mangold might step back again.
Yeah.
So they've got to be careful how they release these films.
But it could work. It could be great. And as you did say, they've redeemed Ahmed Best. He gets shit that he didn't deserve. Wasn't his fault. He didn't write the character. He just gave his best. Daisy doesn't deserve the shit she's getting. No. She's a cool woman by all accounts. I don't actually know her personally, but she comes across as being pretty decent.
Very likeable,
Very likeable person. Always got a smile on her face, upbeat, optimistic. This will give her a chance to maybe redeem the character.
John, is that an actor though? Do you think she's not really had a lot of offers since the Rise of Skywalker, which is
up her on the Orient
obviously
Express.
It's unfortunate,
the one with Tom Holland.
Do you think she's got to be careful here that she's not typecast, because that's what it is at the moment? You know,
I mean, does
she know her limitations? Do you think she's aware of?
I think everyone's aware of their limitations. It's like that quote from the Dirty Harry movie, a man's got to know his limitations. Not just a man, everyone has got to know their limitations. She's obviously aware she's not Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Or Frances McDormand. Or even, I don't know,
Madonna.
Michelle fucking Yao. She's not any of those people. She's herself. She is limited as an actor. She can use this as a springboard again though, Stephen, if it's successful, which it might be, and reignite a career. Stephen is a writer. That's one thing I do like. Stephen Knight's a great writer. I love the Peaky Blinders show. It's some of the best stuff that's come out of the BBC ever. And that man's responsible for writing it. Just brilliantly nuanced characters, riveting storylines. You've got Adrian Brody in there. You've got all sorts of fucking amazing actors. Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, in and about that show. He's stepped on board, obviously, to take over from Damon Lindelof. So that's an interesting choice. We'll see what he can conjure up. If anybody's going to create something special, it's probably going to be Stephen Knight. Again, that's the last thing I'd say, Stephen. Ultimately, another shambles behind the scenes.
Yeah.
In terms of creative teams trying to get a movie out of storyboarding, pre-production, I should say, stage. They've made an absolute rip-roaring CUNT of it.
Well, I just hope, John, in a few months' time that we're not talking about this again and these 3 films we've just discussed have all been shelved. Because that seems to be the trend at the moment at Lucasfilm. I think 10 films so far have been announced and been shelved in the space of maybe about 3 years. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. They need to get their act together and get something out, man. Make it stick.
Yeah.
I personally, what I said in my bit, Stephen, I prefer the TV content as well.
Yeah.
I'd have took a 10-year break from movies. I'd be an old man by then, pretty much. I wouldn't, to be fair. I'm talking shite. That's absolute nonsense. We're talking about from 2019. Fucking hell, John. You'd have been, what, 40? Fucking give me a break. Clown. But, yeah, they're going with these movies. They're adamant they're going to do it. I love Taika. I hope his one's a success if it comes out. I like the Mangold ones. This one's still a big question mark, but time will tell. Look, as long as they don't try and force a Star Wars movie down my throat every year, it may be alright.
Yeah.
They need to learn from the mistakes of the last batch of movies.
This will begin to make things right.
It will, hopefully. Star Wars isn't a yearly franchise. No. You need a break. It's not Marvel. Marvel's not Marvel now.
Especially the TV stuff, John. They've got to be careful.
They do. They really do. I'm hoping Ashoka's good. I've not seen the trailer. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Are we done, Stephen?
We're done, yeah.
I'm going to go to that dual screen then, and for once I've remembered to switch the macro off for the intro, so we're not getting the intro again, and I'll hover over the end screen so I can try and make this look as slick as possible, because once again I have not got the ability to bring up an animated source in OBS, because this Stream Deck app does not want to play ball with OBS, and you know whose fault it is? Fucking OBS. For constantly updating it, not allowing the fucking software WizKids, and it's not the guys that are involved with this, I think it's some other thing, Barloader or some shite, to work their magic and allow you to bring up animated sources. Get it fucking sorted, OBS.
Yeah, please.
I digress. What's your thoughts on Star Wars Celebration? That's the first time I've said I digress in a long time. I'm not going to bring that back, I can assure you. There won't be any t-shirts. That was one of the most ridiculous things I ever thought up, and I've thought up some ridiculous things. Believe me, there won't be an I Digress t-shirt. What's your thoughts on Star Wars Celebration 2023? What was your standout moments, panels, announcements? Are you looking forward to these 3 movies? Which one is floating your boat more than the others, if indeed any? Can Daisy Ridley redeem the Rey character? I just want to keep burping here. Shut your thoughts down below about that. Anything at all we've discussed. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm not having a fucking stroke, because I wanted to say discourse. I've been getting caught between words a lot tonight, and usually that's a fucking sort of half a second choice, but it's been lingering a little bit too long, and it's the cake. I'm going to blame that cake for it. Sugar rush. Anything we've discussed, comment down below if you've got anything to say down below in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Need to do that at the start. I'll remember tomorrow.
That was my fault.
Hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. Do it exactly like you. It opens it, Stephen. Yeah. So I'll do it tomorrow. Stephen has to do it the next time he's on. Stephen's next to me, incidentally. That's a mirage. It's just to bring us up nice, close and personal. It's one camera. I'll show you briefly before I go.
Yeah, it's too weird.
We're too far apart. We look small. We look like Peter Dinklage. There's nothing wrong with Peter Dinklage, but we're not Peter Dinklage, I must assure you. Do the same thing over on Twitch, notifications button, follow button over there to see us do our thing over on that platform. All that's left to be said is thank you very much for watching us. Till the next time, me and Stephen are done. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye bye.